Welcome, everyone, to our latest episode of the Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants, who have never actually consulted on a video game, bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, aka the Gosfather.
I'm Christian, aka Sudowoodoo45.
I'm Preston, a.k.a. Funkadelic Jedi.
Yeah. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about this week. The games we've been playing, and then, of course, we have part 4 of our video game book club coming later this week, where we talk Metal Gear Solid. So, as always, before we dive in, let's take a trip over to Preston's comment corner and see what's going on.
Yeah. We got a comment from Emily P. From the weekly prologue 2 weeks ago. Christian, please educate us more on roguelites versus roguelikes when you're back. I mean, my only experience with either is Cult of the Lamb, but it would be nice to understand those Steam tags. Now, we did kind of cover that last week, which I'm sure, Emily, you've listened to. But I did kind of want to give it a little more clarity, because I did a little bit of research and kind of just thought in my head. So, roguelike, genre of game that takes its name and core mechanics from the 1980 video game Rogue, a dungeon-crawling RPG with randomly generated levels and permadeath. So you die, you start over, it's a different dungeon. Rogue-like means it's like the game Rogue. Rogue-lite, which means that it has some aspects of that game Rogue. And you also hear that when it comes to Souls games. You'll hear Souls-like or a Souls-lite. So if it's pretty much a Souls game, but not by the name, it's going to be a Souls-like. And then if it's got a little bit of stuff like, Dark Souls, it's going to be a Souls-lite. So hopefully that helps clarify it. We've had 3 weeks of discussion on this. I hope everyone understands, Alex.
I still don't understand. Do you think
You do. You're just being obtuse for no reason.
Do you think that Souls-like and Souls-lite, because I don't even hear Souls-lite, I just hear Souls-like, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that term specifically with Souls, with its popularity and everything, is getting muddied? Like, do you think it's being tossed around too much with all the games that are coming out?
I think
because like every other game right now is like a Souls-like game or Souls-like elements.
Yeah, I think that it's getting muddied because that community can't figure it out. Like, they want everything to be a Souls game because they're just so addicted to that fucking formula. But, like, I would say, like, Hollow Knight would be example of, like, a Metroidvania / Souls-lite, like Lite, because you do use the same currency that you get from enemies to level up, buy items, like, do all those things, right? And that's typical of a Souls sort of game. But it doesn't share anything else in common with it outside of that mechanic.
I can think of a lot of things, like, even right now, like that Berserker of Kazan or whatever, and then there's that other, like, Everender or Ever game.
I would say Burgers of Kazan is like a Souls-like. Like, it tries to take a lot from Souls.
But it's not exactly like a Souls game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that get tossed around a lot recently. Everything seems to be a freaking Souls-like.
If you want to be safe about it,
I think anything that seems like it's going to be an extra hard game is how that's being used. I think people are muddying it just because they can't, like, bring themselves to not play anything that isn't a Souls game because they're,
they're broken.
really into it.
Well, so it's interesting too, like Black Myth, right? When I was playing that, we talked about it. It has the challenging difficulty, but it definitely leans more to an action game. But like
It's
as
an
soon
action
as
game. It's
but
not-
as
it's
soon
not a
as people
Souls
see, but as soon as people see a boss that's like 3 times bigger than the protagonist and a bar across the top for health, they're like, "Oh, Souls game." And it's like, well,
No.
I know, which is so
not
frustrating.
really.
It's like, oh yeah, Shadow of the Colossus is a Souls game now.
Plenty of shooters that have boss bars. They're not Souls.
not really.
But yeah, I mean, like we were talking about this when we did Nine Souls. It was like it's not really a Souls-like. And
No, Nine Souls is a Sekiro clone.
It's a Sekiro clone, but it's also a Vania-like or a Metroid-like as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're going to have games that have multiple genres shoved into it to make it more interesting or make it just different. So it's fine. But those aren't alike or light. You can describe them as that and add things to it, but like as a definitive roguelite or a definitive Souls-lite, like it has to have, certain qualities. Yeah, appreciate the chat, Emily. Hopefully we clarified everything for you. But that's all the comments. We didn't clarify
Yes,
for Alex,
Alex,
but
it was clarified. You're being obtuse for no reason.
he's a lost
you know
cause.
it. We all know it.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. Moving on. Yeah, that's all the comments.
Okay, cool. I thought there was another
moving
one.
on to
Fair
another
enough.
comment.
Okay. Well, then, let's dive into our weeks. This could be a very short recap episode or long. I don't know how much you guys played. I can tell you how little I played, which was just
I would
Monster
argue
Hunter.
that we played a lot.
Of one game.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah,
accomplished
that's a good
something.
point. That's a good point. So Christian and I, my week is very simple, and I can lead into Christian, who may be able to expand.
Give us some
if you did
highlights of
more.
your experience for the past week.
I've done nothing but Monster Hunter, because that is my life now, which we all said it was gonna be.
Surprise,
right?
surprise.
Christian and I realized early on that crown hunting, which was an extracurricular activity and one that almost broke our souls and bodies and worlds, was different in this game. So crown hunting, these monsters come in two different sizes. They come in multiple different sizes, but you have the average one that you fight. But sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll see like an extra large version of this monster, and it'll be a large gold crown. And sometimes you'll see an extra small version, and it's a small gold crown. And you get achievements for getting the large and small gold crown of every monster available, because sometimes there's like story related bosses or whatever that just can't be done, but it's all but 3 in this game. In Monster Hunter World, that was the last achievement we did to platinum that game, and it took probably 100 hours or something insane to do. Like, that's what made us put 800 hours in the game, and it was awful. Every bit of it was awful. Something Christian said he would never do again. However, we found out in this game they give you a tool that makes it easier, where you have binoculars now. So before, you just had to measure and hope and pray, and many times your measurement was wrong, or it was just
Maybe all the times.
a dice roll. Because what happens is, even if it's big, there's then a dice roll that happens in the background. So like the model might be large, but there's still like an RNG aspect to it, where Capcom just basically gives you the middle finger and says, I don't care how big it appears on your screen, it's not. So this one, you can just tell. You can pull up your binoculars, you can see if it has a gold crown. And they did this amazing quality of life thing that I think we use all the time, regardless of hunting crowns or not, which is, if you spot something in the wild, like a gold crown, I can click on it on my map and save it as a mission that me and my friends can run later. So Christian could look for crowns, I could look for crowns, we could save it for later and then go do it at any time, which really like takes the burden out of what happened in Worlds. So we did it. We got all the crowns.
Hell yeah.
It probably took us 20 to 30 hours to get them
Little
all.
chunk. Yeah.
3 days. It was 3 days. It was 3 days. It was probably 20 hours, but far less than the like 100-ish hours that it took. Now, to be fair, Christian and I did it at the end of that game's life cycle, so there was a lot of monsters, where this time we're doing it at the beginning of the life cycle, and it's fewer monsters, but it's also just flat out easier. And we found a couple of tricks that we could do, but that was it. Like, that's the biggest
Some of those
hardest part
tricks
of this
we
game.
might have found only when we had 3 monsters remaining, but we found them nonetheless.
We did. And the last crown of the last monster we needed, that thing refused to just show up. And it was a big deal when we were lucky enough to find it and just mark this off as done. So yeah, now we're enjoying the game. We can play the game. I am well on my way to just, like, I've almost made all the weapons for the weapon I use. I am making all the gear that I want to make. I'm fishing for fun. Like, I'm just playing this game, man. This is my second life. I am a hunter for hire now. And yeah, I have a few achievements left. One of them I'm starting to work on. It'll just be time. I gotta hunt things with just you and your palico, right? And it can be other people, but like, you can only have so many people in a group, otherwise your palico
Doesn't
goes
show up.
away in
Yeah.
favor of real people. So I'm working on that one. That'll probably take the longest. Everything else, captures, hunt, like fishing, everything's done. So
Hell
I'm
yeah.
almost there, fellas. Yeah, pretty great. I love the game. That's all I've done. That's all I'll do tomorrow. That's probably all I'll do. Other than these book club games, I have found. Oh, I'll talk about this too. The reason why I've been able to play so much, because if anybody is listening and they're like, "Oh, yeah, don't you have a job?" I do. So on the Steam Deck, I found a new way to play. It's not the it's I just signed up for GeForce Now. I just signed up for GeForce Now. It lets you play, and it plays well, like really really well. I can't get Moonlight to be stable or Apollo to be stable in the house. It works okay, but I would keep getting connectivity errors and connection errors. I've been able to play a ton on GeForce, and it's been flawless. So that's what I've done, and that was on recommendation of Travis. He said try it out, and that's what I'm doing. It's not something I will continue to do forever or pay for. I think it's ridiculous, but until this optimization comes out and I have to travel for work or whatever, this is the way I will be playing this game.
All right.
So,
Good.
yep, that's
Did
it.
you find a way to do it on the road?
Yeah. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been Monster Hunter. So, I did start a new game, so I am dipping into the backlog. So after we got all the crowns and everything, now the only thing left, like Alex was saying, in Monster Hunter is just you just get to play the game and everything else will just sort of happen, which is great. I'm very excited about that. And so I am dipping into the backlog and I'm grabbing Fantasian Neo Dimension.
I saw that one. pop up.
So Fantasian is a game, for those who don't know, that was made by one of my favorite game developers of all time, Sakaguchi, who did Final Fantasy IX, also did Lost Odyssey, so his studio, Mistwalker, released a mobile JRPG ages ago just called Fantasian.
I played that on iPhone and iPad. Is this so? This is different then.
This is the just PC port. So it's just...
So probably the finished version, too, because he released it on iOS and stuff back in the day for Apple Arcade, which was like when games like Shantae and the Seven Stars and other things would launch unfinished, right? It'd be like, here's the first half or whatever.
Yeah, it was... they do it like they would update it and be like, here's the second half. Yeah, I don't know why people did that for iOS development, but they did.
I would assume the answer to that is because money, if I had to guess.
Well, so you never had to... the parts of that game were always free updates. Like, you bought it once and you never... There was not like a part 2 or anything like that.
No, well, that's how all those games were. That was part of the arcade thing, but I would assume Apple was willing to say, here's a boatload of money to even give us unfinished games.
Sure.
As long as we have something to put, as long as we have something to put on our store.
Yeah,
if I had to guess.
I can't remember if that's what they did with Fantasia, like whether it came out as a whole piece or whether they chunked it up. I can't remember. I never finished it. Like I started it maybe once, like and got like an hour in, and then I was like,
Oh wait.
yeah, this is. I just can't. I can't do this on my phone. Like I just can't.
If I'm not mistaken, Christian, the gimmick, not the gimmick to that, because I'm sure the gameplay is the gimmick, but like they made all of the models of the worlds. They're not just hand painted; they're like made.
No,
models.
it's like paper mache like thing. Yeah. And so what that ends up being, so Neo Dimension is the PC port. So it's up-resed. It's got a whole boatload of features, different things that were not in the other game. As soon as I saw this was announced, I was like, well, finally, I have a way that I will actually be able to play this. Now I can either play it on the Steam Deck or on the PC, and have it be in a format that I am willing to engage with it in, which is exciting because it's the only Sakaguchi game that I haven't played, outside of Blue Dragon. I still haven't went back and played that.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, so to Alex's point, this art style now pops even more. Like, all of it looks gorgeous. Like, it's these models and everything that just pop, but then it also ends up being like, because everything is a physical model that they created and then like scanned and put in, it's like, it reminds me of like the static backgrounds that used to happen in PlayStation 1 JRPGs. Like Final Fantasy IX is a great example. It's a game that he already worked on. Those are all hand paint, like it's all painted backgrounds that then you are walking on top of, right? Like the character
I think not the only reason those games still hold up because the story is good, but one of the main reasons those games still hold up because that artwork is like real timeless artwork.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and it's why it's so funny because when you look at a screenshot of that game, as long as there's no interactable object in that scene, you're like, oh wow, this still looks good. It's only when you see the asset for like a chest that you can open up that you're like, oh Jesus Christ, there's those early PS1 fucking things. But like otherwise, like the background art, you're just like, yeah, this just looks like somebody drew a photo, like it, yeah. So, or drew a picture, I mean. But that's what's happening here. It's just like fully like upscaled and everything looks great, and so there's that. Another thing of note, and you know this from minute one, even if you didn't see the credits, you would have known it. But they got, obviously, Nobuo Uematsu to do the music, who, for those who don't know, is the longtime Final Fantasy composer. And yeah, it is apparent from second one. You hear it and you're like, yep, this dude only makes bangers. That's it. There's just no two ways about it. All the music he touches is incredible, and it just continues to be through here. So the other thing is some of the gimmicks that I'll talk about just at a base level, because I'm not super far in it just yet, so I don't want to like dive too much into the story or anything. But so obviously it is your typical turn-based JRPG. So you're, taking turns fighting. You see the turn order show up in the top right of the screen, and it shows you, what's next, what you're, to prepare and do other things like that. The other thing that it does, though, is it has this sort of like pocket dimension as you progress through the game. You don't get it till a little bit later, but it's this like pocket dimension where if you run up on a particularly challenging fight, you can like shove this enemy into this pocket dimension and be like, I'm gonna deal with that later, no thank you, and it stops you from dying. But then as you get stronger, you can go, okay, I'm gonna open up this pocket, now I'm ready to fight this thing, and then you can do it from there, which is like a really insane gimmick that is pretty cool. And I'm waiting to see how it sort of plays out more. Like I said, I'm very early on. All the characters are likable, everything's good. Yeah, I mean, that's really, I don't have much else to say about it. I'm really enjoying it. It's new, new as in the port is new. Like, so yeah. I know it's a lot of people's first time experiencing this game. And I'm still fairly early on. But so far I'm really, really digging it. It's been super fun to hop around and mess with it. So, I mean, I'm happy to finally knock it out of my backlog now that I have a way to, like, actually play it. I'm trying to think.
That pocket dimension. So you're saying you face an enemy, let's say it's too much for you, you toss it in the pocket dimension. Is that for all enemies, or like are there some enemies that like would keep you from like going further, so you might pocket dimension them to advance the game or the story, or are there certain enemies that you can't do that to?
So I haven't tested the limit of it, but so far it seems like anything can go in this pocket dimension.
Like a boss?
I haven't fought. So now that since I've had it, I haven't ran into a boss yet. I am interested to try it to see if it'll just let you continue until you go and deal. Like, I don't know how that works. Yeah, I'm not sure.
At some point, do they make you fight them no matter what? Like, okay, your pocket dimension's a little full. You've been storing everything you see. Like, you have to fight
my guess is that bosses can't go in it. I don't know. Okay. So I'll probably be able to update next week. So I'm sure I'll.
That would be a wild.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, damn.
But so far, it's still even cool because it's just one of those things like Preston, you were describing some of your struggles with 12, right, where you're running around like some of these random enemies are beating the shit out of you, and so it would be fun. Like if you're like, I just need to get to this area so I can get this thing. Like I'm just trying to do this. You're like, you know what? Fuck you, pocket dimension, and then you're like, bye, and then you just keep running through, right? Like I think it's a very it's an interesting concept that I am excited to see. I'm excited to like push the boundaries to see how far it'll let me go, in that situation. And then as far as like, quote unquote, like TV, like watching stuff, really the only thing I have to report is Alex and I continue to be punished. I continue to be punished. Okay. Alex has been punished for most of his life for liking this. He just recently brought me in.
Soccer?
But man, we have been subject to some of the worst officiating that I think I've ever seen in my life.
Sports.
And man, It was brutal. Luckily, my team eked out a win this weekend. Alex was not so fortunate. But we both can agree that this it's just been god-awful.
We played Miami this week with Messi, and Atlanta did the first 30 minutes. We dominated, and the game we did pretty well, and we scored early.
You look strong.
We had a second goal that got called offside, which I even on the replay wasn't so sure, but whatever.
You had that goal, but then you had another goal that got called off on a that was with the handball thing,
Yeah,
which was like one of the most crazy calls. Yeah, there was a never call. Yeah, it was a no call. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even the announcers were like pretty blatant, obvious.
Yeah, so I texted Alex about this because so he was at the game. Obviously, I was watching because I'm not in Atlanta, so I was watching on TV. But it is so clear, even from any camera angle, that this Miami player literally might as well had reached out, palmed the ball, and threw it down. Like might as well have been what happened. And the ref was like, there's nothing I can do. I can't see. I don't know. And then like they would go to review it, and then they were like, yeah, it's not clear. It's not clear. And the announcers on the other side, I texted Alex this because I just started busting out laughing. It's because the announcers were like, yeah, I don't know how more fair and clear you can get in these shots, and unfortunately, like these shots are the same shots that the back room has. So they should be able to see exactly what we're seeing, but I guess that's the way it goes. Like they were shocked, like they couldn't believe.
So Drew Fisher was the officiant, and he was the referee, and he has a history of just problems and controversies and other things in soccer. He's kind of like Christian. What was the guy? What's the NBA referee that everybody knows that retired?
Scott Foster.
Yeah, he's kind of like Scott Foster of the MLS. Right. He's like, I'm the big man on here. I want to make everything about me, whatever. But it doesn't help when you're playing Miami. So, like, I woke up the next morning still angry. And I am part of the Atlanta United Reddit, naturally. And I interact on there, and it's always good and whatever. And I got on there. I was like, the first thing in the morning, I rolled out of bed, getting ready for the gym. I just put, you know what, my hot take, without the refereeing, Miami is a mid-table team at best. I was like, 6th to 8th place, barely playoffs. And I had a lot of people that were like, yeah, I kind of agree, and I have a lot of people that were like, I don't know. And then I had some people that were like, go cry more, which only made me more angry to go to the FOTMob app to go game by game to actually pull the amount of fouls Miami gets versus other teams. They actually far outnumber other teams the amount of yellow cards given to them. But even with that, they come well under the amount of fouls, and it's about 70% opposition, 30% Miami. And I only went back to like halfway through the last season, not all the way back to the Liga MX, like MLS Cup 2 seasons ago when Messi came in. And also the fouls are, though there are more for the opposition, majority of the opposition fouls happen between the halfway and their own goal side, where majority of Miami's fouls happen in the attacking third, like where they would get like free kicks on goal. And I just like, I stopped and I said, I'm not going to reply to these people with numbers and facts, because I can't just say it because people are going to be like, yeah, right, I'm going to have to do it. And I was like, and my brain started falling down the rabbit hole. I was like, I mean, I can make a spreadsheet that has opposition fouls to Miami fouls. I was like, I could have a spreadsheet that shows where they are. I was like, I could even do a spreadsheet of like, did Messi start that game or did he not play that game? Because that also plays into it. Like the games that I saw where like the fouls were kind of close were typically games Messi didn't play at all because he rested a lot last season. And I was like, so angry. And all I could do, I was like, I'm not going to reply. It's fine. I just hope and pray that this team starts getting found out, or that like, as they rest Messi and Suarez gets injured, probably, that they drop to 6th and 7th by the end of the season. So I could just be like, see what I say, right? Because I could show you the numbers. I just don't have the time for that shit. So I was very upset. It was bad too. Like, we don't typically throw stuff on the field. Like, and I did not, by the way. But like, our supporters are usually pretty good. They're loud, like anybody, but they're not like, Chris, I know you living in Chicago. Your people will throw stuff all the time.
People.
I said what I said. So we're usually pretty good with that Southern hospitality. I've never seen him throw things. This week, though, the refs were escorted out with security, and there were just stuff being launched from the supporters, which is just something I've never seen.
Now, I think there is probably something, like, I think that there is probably something to the idea of this is probably an order that's coming down from higher than the refs that are there, right? Like, hey, we need these ratings. Messi makes good ratings. I'm not saying it's not all on that, like, obviously, I trust you in saying that referee is like the Scott Foster of the MLS, because I think in general, like I said, I think the officiating has been god awful. Like, I was using the example of the game that Chicago had. We had a player who actually got hit in his throat, like, wacha, like punched in his throat, and the ref was like, "What do you want? What happened?" Like, and had no idea, couldn't figure it out. Was like, the guy is over here holding his throat, and the guy's like, "That's crazy. Play on." And it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what are we doing? And then, like, so it's stuff like that that is
MLS,
great, but, like,
MLS referees are among the worst, but at least they're bad for everyone, which is why I want Messi gone. Like, I want to go back to where the referee just sucked for everybody, not just for one team, right? Like, I want him, I want everybody to feel it. It is an interesting coincidence that just so happened to be the game against Messi, where FIFA brought the Club World Cup because, like, the trophy for fans and stuff to get pictures with, because Atlanta's going to be one of the host cities for that. And Miami is one of the teams that happened to be selected. So I'm just saying, there's, like, a lot of things going on here from a not only a notoriously corrupt company, one of the world's most corrupt companies in FIFA is all I'm saying. So,
yeah,
proven.
So yeah, man, I don't know, but yeah, that was the only thing I really watched that that stuck with me. I haven't watched any other shows or anything like that because we have just been busy. I will hopefully. I'm assuming that I'm going to get a lot of viewing ties. So next week, I'll be doing a little bit of traveling. But we'll be able to figure it out. It'll be fine. But I have all next week off, and like going to that weekend because I took it off for my birthday, which I never do.
Oh yeah.
Took a whole week off. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I had PTO that I had to burn, and they basically told me you either have to use it or you're gonna lose it. And I was like, well, okay. And so I did something that I never do because I never ever take off time for my birthday.
Are you traveling for fun, or is this your work trip too?
No. That's in April.
Okay.
No, this will just be for fun. It's just Alexa and I going up to Minnesota. She has a work thing that she's going to.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, fuck it. I'll just go. So we're going to go up there for a couple days, which will be fun. But then for the most of the week, I'll be back just kicking it. So we'll be able to do whatever.
I don't know where you guys are going in Minnesota. There's a great brewery. Surly? That sounds right. I'll have to look it up. It's a decent-sized brewery up there in Minnesota. And I've only ever gotten their stuff in like St. Louis and further north, but it's great. But I'll get the name and send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me. I'll check it out. Yeah, that was it, man. That was all I did.
Can I say, Christian, before we pass it off to Preston, I can't wait. I'm so happy you watch soccer. I can't wait until Chicago builds up and you start having things to play for. Like, in 1 week, right, with Liverpool, I went from a team that had potential at a quad, which is very hard. A quad is 4 trophies. You have 3 domestic trophies in England that you play for. You have the Premier League. You have the Carabao Cup. You have the FA Cup. They have different teams in them. And then, of course, you have the UEFA Champions League, which is the most profitable tournament in the world, more than the World Cup. Happens every year. It's all the best teams in Europe, all the champion teams from Europe. We had a chance at a quad. So we're first in the Premier League table. We were in the FA Cup. We're in the finals of the Carabao Cup, and we finished first in the table round, going into the knockouts of the Champions League, sitting pretty, right? We play all of our backups in the FA Cup and get knocked out to the championship team Plymouth, who's almost in relegation, about to drop out. Okay, so we get knocked out of that. Pretty frustrating, but whatever. We go, hey, we played all of our kids. None of our starters played. It is what it is. We're resting, whatever. We then go to the Champions League, and we draw 1-1 away, and then we come here and home and we lose. So we get knocked out of the Champions League, being like number one, right? So now we're down to like we were at a quad, we went down to a triple. These are a treble, and these are all hard to do. And then we're like, fine, this whatever, we'll get a domestic double. So then that was Wednesday. Then Sunday, the final of the Carabao Cup, we lose to Newcastle in one of our worst performances of the season. So we went from possible 4 trophies down to 1 in the matter of a week. And like not only did that happen, but we have 3 of our best stars like not signing contract extensions, so there's that drama. So like I can't wait till Chicago gets up in the MLS and you get to experience some of the real heartbreak, because no other sport plays for as many competitive trophies in a season as soccer does, and it's just so many more opportunities for heartbreak than like a playoff.
And I'll make a case for soccer here, because I think it's hard. So I am somebody like for sports, like I don't like football, but like baseball is hard for me to watch because I think the new rules have made it a little bit better, like the new pitch clock and things like make it faster, which is nice. But I typically am not somebody who is like, into slow games or whatever. Like it's just not my thing. And soccer, I think, is up there with the slower games like baseball because they're very low scoring usually. Like that's just the nature of the game. And I remember still very clearly when Alex he was like, "Hey man, just if you go, like just go to a game and then see how you feel, and you can judge it after that, but just like go." And so Alex and I did. We went to one, and that was the difference maker. And so I'm just saying, if you live in a city that has an MLS team, or you live near a city that has an MLS team, within reason, and you have an opportunity to go to a game, you should just do it. Because I think it is the thing that will change your opinion on the sport. Or not. If it doesn't, then that's fine. But I think that's what has your best shot at changing it. Because I didn't care. And then I went to a game. And then I was like, never mind. I'm fully bought into this. And I want to start watching and keeping up with it and different things like that.
And now,
it doesn't.
Now you get to experience 90 minutes of anxiety followed by either an hour of ecstasy or 6 days of depression. So
it's weird, man, because so that is exactly what it is because now it's this blessing and a curse of like a low scoring game, because it's like, yes, it is low scoring, and so like you're like, oh, okay, cool, like it's we're always kind of in it, but then you're always kind of not also, like because you're like in an NBA game, if I was to say like, oh, this team is down by 3, you're like, well, that's just that's a hair away from being a tie game. Who gives a shit? Like it's a very close game. But being down 3 in soccer is like, well, should I go get the car now? Because, I mean, parking's a bitch, so I might as well just get out of Soldier Field while I can. And yeah, it's very interesting, but it is this thing where even, like, for instance, in the Chicago game that happened that I was watching this weekend, it was all the way up until maybe the last fucking 15 minutes where we got a second goal scored. We were up 2-1. And the entire time, instead of being like, yes, we're up, it's the last 15 minutes of the game, and all you can think is, fuck, we have 15 minutes left. Like, and you're just like so upset because you don't know what's about to happen, and because you're like, God damn it, if we make one mistake and they score, that's it. We don't get 3 points anymore. It's a draw, and now I'm not mad, but I'm not happy either, and I'm just walking away being like, I guess, cool, whatever. And then you have the drama of like, when a goal gets taken away because of some dumbass fucking not being able to use their stupid ass eyeballs, and it's just like, it becomes very apparent very quickly why people at Soldier Field, when Chicago does score, ends up throwing fucking smoke grenades on the field because they're that happy, and also why people threaten refs within the inch of their lives. It's a very high emotion game. But yeah, no, honestly, so far, obviously knocking on wood here, but so far, Chicago has already been playing much better than last season. And so, like I said at the beginning of this season, is that if, I don't even care if it's a first round exit, if Chicago takes the pieces that we had, and it puts us in a playoff spot of any kind, even if it's final seed, I don't give a shit, and we get exit the first round. That season is a success because we did fuck all last season because our coach was one of the worst people that I've ever seen coach a fucking sport ever, and this one seems to be a lot better. So, yeah, I'm very hopeful that that's how it continues to go, and then it just goes up from there. But
Yeah.
Sorry, Preston.
Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see who's sticking around here for Preston's week.
Dude, his eyes got glassy.
He's like, everybody turned us off. No one is listening right now.
Preston's gonna turn this part of the recording on when he needs to go to sleep later tonight.
If you notice that there is a section here where bad audio is, just because I didn't pay attention to it while editing. So.
You said what?
I said if there's a part of this episode like here to where the audio is worse than others, it's because I wasn't editing it. And just
skipped over.
I'll pay attention to it.
He'll put a disclaimer. Be like, if you want to skip to my week, skip to whatever timestamp.
This will be the first episode. I make chapters. No, I'm just kidding. I like watching sports. I just could give a fuck less about them. But I know you guys like them, and there's plenty of people that like them out there. So. I'm happy for you guys. If we're going to get into my week. Played a little bit more of Monster Hunter Wilds. Got up to Hunter rank 30 with the boys. Also played a little bit more of Redout 2. Not a whole lot. Just, messing around with the Class A. And then I finished on twitch.tv/testing room live. Finished Empire at War. Your boy was worried. He was sweating it. Didn't think he was going to finish it. I had 5 planets to take down with the Death Star. You can't just go straight to them. But I built myself a big-ass Imperial fleet. Had the Death Star in tow. No problems whatsoever. Just kind of went through it. Took down all 5 planets in that one episode. And got credits on the Empires campaign. So,
question for you.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird and kind of against canon that like you had to have a huge fleet with the Death Star in tow to take out these planets? Like, couldn't you have just like powered up the cannon and I don't know, blown it up?
So, to finish those levels, those areas, those planets, if you will. You can take down the planet, but you still need to finish whatever fleet they have in that space area.
Okay.
I could just take out the planet and then leave, but that place is still technically occupied by the rebel forces. So,
gotcha.
But wasn't an issue with it. Went in there, destroyed them. A couple planets had some Mon Calamari cruisers, but I was okay. Those guys have big shields. I just, go ahead and take them down, focus on them for a while. If I need to bring in some extra ships, I will. But yeah, had a great time. Didn't have any real issues of people invading me while I was doing that. I think I had like 1 or 2 invasions. I said, fuck it. Auto resolve. Don't care. We're just here to kill the planets. And we went through it. It was a lot of fun. So next week, or for our listeners, it will have already happened, but following forward until we get to May the 4th, it will be Star Wars The Old Republic. So, starting a new character, gotta go through some story, and then this will be like the kind of game I use for filler when I'm trying to figure out what the next game is in the lineup. So, I'm gonna go into that and have a lot of fun with it. Just trying to decide my class. Probably gonna go with Jedi Knight, just because I hear that is pretty much what will be the KOTOR 3 story, essentially, because Knights of the Old Republic. They call it the Old Republic because you can be a smuggler, an Imperial spy, a Republic soldier, bounty hunter, but you also have the option for 2 different types of Jedi and 2 different types of Sith, and then branches within that once you get to higher levels.
This is the MMO we all played. Well, not we all played, but like...
Yes.
I played separately back in the day. I think I actually played with Travis back in the day.
Did you?
I'll be interested to see what you have to say as far as like you're starting a new character, right? Mm-hmm. Well, but also like the player base and other stuff when you're looking for stuff to do at a low level. I'm interested to see
how
what
the
you have to say.
community looks right now. Mm-hmm. I've seen videos here and there, kind of like doing the whole how is the Old Republic now in 2025 and stuff like that. So there is definitely still a community. I think the last update, like the big update they had as far as like DLC was 2023, I think. But yeah, no, I was going through and trying to make the intro today. I was pulling up all the cinematics. Those cinematics still fucking hold up. They're fucking amazing.
They make good cinematics, yeah.
And they do make.
I'm very excited to see how this goes because I never played this game. I just always have seen it, so I'm very excited to see what the journey.
They
ends
had
up
they had a
being
fun
here.
little PvP in it too.
Yeah,
back in the
they
day.
do have some good PvP. So I'll be seeing how all that kind of rolls out. I did launch it at first, just to kind of just make sure I can log in and everything, get all that kind of squared away. My old character still exists.
Oh wow!
I may have to quote unquote rename it, but I don't think anyone took my name because like a unique. It's like it's just when you have your unique fantasy name that you bring with you with all the role playing games and all that, everything like that. Where you make your own character. I'm always Sokito. That's always what's always been for like my Star Wars games back in the day. So he's still there. I will probably make a Zoe to be my Jedi Knight going forward. So unless something else grabs me, I hear the Imperial Agent has like an incredible story. So who knows? I might dive into that later on once I finish up most of that Jedi Knight stuff. But I'm excited. I've been fiending for it. I've been looking for an excuse, and this is a great one for it. So we'll be jumping into that and see how that goes. But yeah, if you're listening to this and you're curious about it, the live broadcast will be on, like I said, twitch.tv/testingroomlive in the mornings around 9:30 Central Standard Time in the AM. And then following Wednesday, I'll be putting those VODs up on the YouTube. So youtube.com/@thetestingroom if you want to check those out there instead. And then one last game outside of our video game book club. We had the spring sale for Steam. I dabbled, just $2 for Doom 2016.
Dude,
why not?
I took 4 things out of my cart today. One of them because it was Doom and you already bought it and we got it in the family. But like, I just have loaded my cart with stuff from the sale.
Yeah. So there's still one thing in my cart. I will probably wait until the winter sale. But yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was in there, and it's like it's a little bit of a discount. It's not a huge discount. I'm just gonna wait till like holiday season because I don't have any time right now to play it. So I'm just gonna keep that on the wish list.
50 or $60 or something.
It's still $50. I'm like, yeah, give me closer down to 40. I might be more swayed, kind of deal.
Fam, I'm looking for those $3 and $6 games. Hit me
you're
up
not
with
gonna,
those.
That's not going to be $3 and $6 for a good long time. So I do end up wanting to play Rebirth, but I'll get there when I get there. But there was one that I was paying attention to last year that I did not get around to, which was Rogue Flight. So this is, I'm pretty sure, a rogue-like that is based off of, Star Fox. It's got the barrel roll. It's on-rail shooter. With this one, you do get different primary weapons. I haven't gotten really any so far, but I'm very, very early in. Same thing with lock-on missiles, everything like that. It looks great. The character portraits and the animation do remind me a lot of Zone of the Enders, or even like maybe a little like Metal Gear, but with more color. But like the really good anime looking portraits with a little bit of animation to it on top of that. Voice acting and everything is phenomenal. A little heavy on the lore dumps that they give you. Just trying to explain the world and stuff like that, which I'm fine with, especially at the beginning. You're going to want to build out your world. So I get it. But what little I've played of it, which is like an hour or so, is really good. It's very solid as far as the on-rail shooter aspect. It's got one extra type of ability. It's like a drift. So you'll hit like the thumbstick left or right, and then it will do a horizontal 360 spin. But like the I forget what you call it, like the jet tails that you got behind you, those whip in front of you. And you can use that to like slash in front. So there's a lot of tiny enemies sometimes that will just kind of accumulate your screen, and you can slash through and get a bunch of them all in one hit, which is really nice. But I think I finished like the first boss in there, and then it does go into the very Star Fox-esque of, which path do you want to take? And with this one, it has story, so it's like, hey, we have to go to this. We're going to take these guys down now, or we can go to like their forge or their facility to take down that area to give them less ships when we arrive later on, but it will take a little bit longer. And they will be aware of our presence at that point. So it's got a little bit of a decision for you. I'm curious to see where the rogue comes into it. So I'm curious to see like if we do retain stuff. I mean, I know they got upgrades and things like that you can get later on, so I'm curious to see how that kind of unfolds. But yeah, I'll probably have plenty more to report back next week. But so far, so good. Good Star Fox like, and I definitely recommended that to Jake when I was hanging out with them because I was also on Two Worlds podcast for the past 2 weeks. So if you want to hear me talk about comic books and see me totally freeze up when he asks me what my top 4 favorite Marvel characters were, feel free to check that out on the Two Worlds. He asked me, he's like, I'm just, Fantastic Four. He's like, what's your favorite 4, Marvel characters? I'm like, fuck. And I'm looking at like an X-Men poster. I'm like, I can give you a couple X-Men. But I just totally blanked on Marvel characters. I'm like, let me go up. I went up real quick and just looked at my MCU movies. I'm like, okay, give you Blade, give you Rocket Raccoon. But it's you'd be surprised when doing a podcast like this. You can talk with your friends and kind of like bullshit around about your favorite Marvel characters. But as soon as someone asks you on a recorded podcast what your favorite Marvel characters are, there's a good chance you might freeze up. And I did, so it was funny. But yeah, feel free to go out there and give them some love over there at the Two Worlds. You can find them on podcast services and on YouTube as well. But other than that, that's my week.
Nice. All right. Well, don't forget to join us later this week as we dive into part 4 of Metal Gear Solid, coming up to the end. Only got one more part after this. But if you've been listening, I think you'll probably enjoy this week. It's very story heavy. We get a lot of what's going on. So check in with that. And otherwise, Preston, you know what to do.
Hit it. Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or to check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcast. If watching is more your thing, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/@thetestingroom, or watch us live on twitch.tv/testingroomlive. To leave comments or ask questions, you can follow us on Instagram @testingroompod, leave a comment on YouTube, or send them in to testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.